Hello YouTube community, Rick here with another internet video. I'm going to make a video this time on a subject that I do have personal experience with, that I wish that I didn't have personal experience with, and wish that you don't have personal experience with this. But if you're here, you might, and that is I've been the victim of a unprovoked or random act of violence. I'll tell you my story very quickly. 6 years ago in 2004, I was walking down the street coming home from a sporting event. Two guys walked past me, and I had my head down, and one of them, hit me right in the face, broke my nose, split my tooth, and I had a heck of a time dealing with that. Physically, I mean, after 6-8 months I was fine. My nose healed permanently and my tooth was replaced. I can still do stuff like that, which is pretty crazy. I wish I couldn't, but I can. But emotionally it really took until maybe a year or year and a half ago for me to feel better and feel back to normal. And this video is for anyone. The reason I'm doing it is because in two instances in the news, man in Sydney, Australia, attacked by two youths. He was a man in a wheelchair, attacked by two youths with a metal bar, unprovoked. And people in Vancouver at a SkyTrain station getting randomly punched by a guy, and then he assaulted the two officers who arrested him. So I am here to tell you what worked for me, and that's two things. One was time to heal physically and heal emotionally, and two was seeing a professional. I was fortunate and had access to Victims of Violent Crime Assistance Fund and used that money to go and see a therapist, and I had a few sessions with him, and really recommend, if you've been the victim of a violent crime, that you do the same thing. And that's because I know it's a little bit nerve-wracking, especially I had never been to a therapist, I'd never had cause to go, and was really nervous about going, but I can tell you that it's nice to it's nice to speak to someone who's removed from your situation, who can really be objective, and who you don't have to worry. They're not going to tell your friends and your family your darkest secrets. But I will. I'm going to tell you what I told him and what the solution was for me. I said, I'm really nervous. This is about 6 months after the attack. I said, I'm really nervous around if I'm walking down a street and there's crowds or like people coming towards me, especially if they're all men and they're being loud and it seems like they've been drinking, and it's night. I get really nervous and my heart would start beating and I felt like I couldn't breathe. Especially in the neighborhood it happened, for sure, and especially at night. And if I was alone, more so than if I was with people. And that was what I was having issues with. And that happened certainly within the first 6 months. I remember the day after waking up in bed and thinking, oh God, how am I gonna leave the house to get groceries? But I did, like I said, I went to see a therapist, and I'll tell you what he told me. And he said, Rick, what's going on for you now is that you have a bit more realistic view of the world. It's unfortunate, but the world can be a dangerous place, and there are people who will hurt people, and will commit crimes, and now you're aware of it, and that really made me think, because prior to being hit, I would walk down the worst neighborhood in any major city I've ever lived in or ever been to, and not even stop to think, not really even be aware of my surroundings. And you know what I thought when he said that was, yeah, the world can be a dangerous place, and it is fine time that I open my eyes and my ears to it. So that's number one, is go and see someone. If you can't afford to, really try to make the effort. But if you can't afford to, I really don't know what to say. Just time will help you. You need to you need to challenge yourself. I went outside the very next day, and I lived in the neighborhood that it happened. I went out the very next day, went and got my groceries that I was terrified to do, took the bus, did things that I was really, really not looking forward to, and I was scared to do those things within the first 6 months. But challenge yourself and do some of those things. Be aware and don't put yourself in situations where you're alone, you're taking the same route home, you have headphones on, you're not aware of what's going on. I mean, I had a hood on and my head down. I mean, I didn't even see who it was, to be honest with you. And they were never caught, which doesn't help anything either. So be aware, and you know what? Just understand the world is a dangerous place. You are not a magnet for this kind of behavior. One thing that helped me was understanding that the likelihood of this happening to any one individual is very, very small. The likelihood of it happening to me twice is infinitesimal, especially because I now have the tools. I'm aware of what's going on. I look at situations. It's not. I understand that it will likely not happen to me again, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't be aware of what's going on. So if you've been the victim of a violent attack, go see a therapist. Be honest with them. If you're afraid of someone walking behind you, if a loud noise really scares you or triggers something, be honest with them and let them know. And I encourage you to do that. And if you haven't been the victim of a violent attack, and you're watching this video, you know what? You can take some notes too, or get some information from this. Be aware of what's happening around you, and you know what? If for lack of a better word, if your spider sense goes off, and something doesn't feel right, you know what? React to that and be aware. So, and I'd just like to point out that the attack that I went through was, not to make light of it, but I would say it can be considered very minor. Yeah, I did have to get my nose reset. I avoided surgery. I had some dental work done. But I can only imagine if you've been sexually assaulted or if you've had lasting injuries from it. You know what? My heart goes out to you. I really empathize with you. But keep the faith and be strong. And just understand that time is a healer. It might take more time than you think. But you know what? Just keep the faith. Try to challenge yourself and understand that sometimes bad things happen, and that can just be the way the world works. Keep the faith and be strong, and you should be fine. Best of luck out there, and you know what? Let's treat each other nicely. We're all in it together, so be cool and stay cool. Peace.